It was a nice Sunday afternoon, certainly better than the 6 degrees and rain that we have today. And so we took a ride out together. We took a ride out over to this car park here because, well, we knew something was up. Everybody knew that something was up. And then later on that same evening, boom, lockdown. Back then, of course, we rode quite casually. You know, we didn't commute, we didn't do bike nights. I didn't even have any biker friends. We would take the bike out once a week, maybe once a fortnight, just for fun. And so it felt like we were taking one last ride together. And if ever I was going out on one last ride, it was always going to be Brixham. And it's kind of hard to believe now that that was 4 years ago. I mean, I remember riding over here on that March afternoon, knowing that this could be my last ride for a while. And I don't want to dwell upon COVID and all the terrible things that it brought, but riding over here that day made me think, this is going to show me how much bikes mean to me. Only you can't really appreciate something until you haven't got it. You can't appreciate someone until you haven't got them. You can't appreciate a bike until you can't ride it, whether that be due to lockdown, a failed MOT, or whatever maybe ailing your bike. And then, of course, we went into lockdown, and suddenly, not only can we not ride our bikes, but we can't see our friends and family and go places we want to go and enjoy the freedoms that we enjoy. I mean, we're talking 4 years ago. You know, this bike really has been with me for a long time. You know, we're going on for 6 years now. But of course, we went into lockdown for a couple of months. And yeah, it really, really made me appreciate my bike. And then we come out of lockdown a few months later, and lockdown finished. The first day where we were not in lockdown after that was the last day that my CBT was valid. So of course we went out that day all day long and we rode this bike. And I look back on those pictures now and it almost doesn't feel real. I mean, I look back on those pictures now and I see Rafiki with his L plates, and now I find him, I think he looks quite funny with his L plates. But looking back on what we had and what we lost temporarily, permanently maybe, and you look back at some of the pictures, you know, we couldn't go out other than to get groceries and take a bit of exercise. In some countries, you weren't even allowed to be found out on the street. You weren't allowed out at all, and if you were on the street, you got a fine. And looking back now, it almost doesn't seem real. You know, when I think about, did we really have to queue up outside a supermarket just to buy groceries? Were people really fighting with one another over toilet roll? And did I really not ride a motorbike for 12 months? And unfortunately, the answer to all of those questions is yes, all of those things really, really did happen. And having not ridden for 12 months, eventually came the time to get back on the bike. And of course, the bike was always going to need a once over because I haven't used him in 12 months. Little did I know, I was going to end up having to change his backlight, his brake pads, rear and front. Had to change his fork seals. I even had to rebuild his master cylinder because I changed the fluid and it wouldn't bleed. And then of course, once we'd done all that and managed to get the MOT, where did we go? Of course we came back here. We came back to this very spot. It almost felt like to resume a life that had been on hold. I really should come down here with a fishing rod and the bike and see if we can combine both hobbies. Being here today, well, it's reminded me of just how valuable our freedoms are. Because if you think about it, and I mean really think about it, we are each the architect of our own destiny because we have the freedom of choice.